being a zealot for prayer can be a really good thing. So to kick us off today, Judy Crenshaw is going to start.
Good morning. And I am Judy Crenshaw. And I don't know how long I've been a prayer chaplain. I don't remember that. But I know that when I came to Unity, just a little backstory, I didn't want anything to do with God or prayer or anything. I used to say if at all because I knew I was going to go to hell anyway until Unity. And I saw the power of prayer the first time when I called Silent Unity. I don't know if any of you have called them, but I had such an but there was a part of me that somehow must have believed in prayer, because the first time I called Silent Unity and they prayed with me, I cried. Because they prayed so different than anybody I've ever met. They didn't pray about what was wrong. They prayed about the goodness and what's possible. And that's why when I came here, whatever year it was, I actually started here in 1987, I do believe. But when they had the thing about prayer chaplains, and I did start in the beginning with prayer chaplains, but I am a gypsy. I come and I go because I've been back and forth here quite a few times. But prayer chaplain here, and then I also was prayer chaplain in North Carolina, that getting the opportunity to pray with you is such a blessing that I thought about, how can I put it in words? There's no words. It's the words that I get to share with you, whatever's going on. And for me, what I learned is that there's hope and possibilities and opportunities. And as I listen to the different things that is going on in people's life, I can see it from such a different point of view. I can now understand the lady when she prayed with me in Silent Unity umpteen years ago, what she was doing for me. And it just touches my heart that I have this a gift, because it's a gift. Not everybody can pray with everybody. And being able to listen to the things, but being part of this prayer chaplain group and all the things that I've learned with us as a prayer group, as well as with the bigger picture of what the power of prayer is. And a few years ago, my son was in a horrific accident. I'm just sharing the power of prayer. They didn't know if he was going to live or die. And I didn't know either. But I knew that there was a goodness that I didn't understand. I always say that. There's a goodness that I don't understand. I don't understand how it all works, to be honest. But being there and all the family drama and stuff, I stayed out of the way and I just said a prayer. And my one fall prayer is the serenity prayer. It's the ultimate for me. And just this week, 2 weeks, I got to go and see my son, who is still alive 5 years later. And it was an amazing experience of how I don't know how the universe works, and to see the goodness. And I get to give that to the people I pray, that gift of hope, that gift of possibilities. And I'm just grateful that I can be of service to each and every one of you.
Roger and the podium. I'm Cheryl Silberman, and it is hard to say what being a prayer chaplain really means. But I'm going to tell you there's two things that have furthered me along my path, my spiritual path, from being a prayer chaplain. And they're realizations that I hope that when I pray with people, in some way that comes out too. And the first one is the knowledge that we're all in this together. You know, the forms of our problems are different. My body's different. My health or illness is different. My life experiences are different. Yours are different. But we're all in this together. You know, there's a very underlying current that we're all moving along this current to the same spot. And that's a spot of forgiveness. So whatever I say, this is the second thing I've learned. Whatever I say to you in prayer, I could say gobbledygook. I could say something that nobody understands. But if I'm saying it in love, if I hold my intention of sharing that love with you, it doesn't matter what my words are, you will get it. So at the very beginning, I was really concerned about, oh, am I saying this right? Am I doing it right? You know, I've learned through the process over the years of being a prayer chaplain, it doesn't matter. You will feel the love that I'm sending you and giving you and buoying you up so that you can go about your path in the form that you've chosen and make those steps forward as well. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Nancy Leifer, and I'd like to just talk a little bit of a combination of things when I'm hearing from others about what's true for me. I came to Unity in 1987 and had an almost immediate opportunity to feel the power of prayer when my husband had a heart attack. And I was there at the hospital. And I had just been in Unity for not very long. And I thought, oh, there's this thing called Silent Unity. I think I'll give them a call. So I did. And as Judy said, the prayers that they do are so connecting and so wonderful that I got off the phone. And although nothing had changed on the outside, I knew on the inside that my husband was going to be all right. And it was just this rock solid, yes, he is going to be all right. And that is the power of prayer. So I know it seems like it's possible at least to think that all of us who are prayer chaplains are somehow some different kind of person from other people who aren't prayer chaplains. And that really isn't the case. I'm here to talk about the fact that us prayer chaplains are just regular, ordinary people, just like everybody else. And one of my biggest challenges in being a prayer chaplain is that I want to always bring to my prayer chaplain time my very best self. And that sometimes gets in the way of self-care and other stuff going on in my life. And it's like, oh my gosh, you know, this is like, how can I do this? And I've learned two things about being a prayer chaplain. One of them is when I connect with people, it isn't me that has to be the one that's there. It's spirit moving through me. And spirit moves through all of us. So it isn't really us as prayer chaplain doing this work. It's spirit moving through us. And I like to think to myself like, oh man, you know, I really have to bring my best game to this. And that's true. I do need to bring my best game. But my best game is available at an instant's notice if need be. I think the other thing that I've learned is that if any of my people call me and say, I need a prayer right now, I am instantly there for them. And that is something that I can do. So this little niggling doubt I have in my mind about, oh my goodness, can I do my prayer calls today? Well, maybe I should wait till tomorrow because I'm a little tired today. All of that. And once you get started, it's there, the Spirit is there, and it just flows. So I think the last thing I'd like to just note is that, as we've all said, what is it we're really doing as prayer chaplains? We're just helping our people that we're praying with to remember who you really are, that you are beings of spirit, and that you have within you everything you need. And that's where that hope and that faith and that love comes from. We don't have the answers. We don't want to give you the answers. We're just here to help you remember you have the answers within you. Thank you. Oh, I'm sorry. I do have one more thing, if I have a couple more minutes. I thought I would share with you my prayer that I was using this week, this month on Zeal, because it's one of my favorites that I write out a prayer for people who I call and they're not there, and I leave a prayer for them. So let me just quickly run through this, and then we'll turn it over here to the next speaker. Power for October is zeal, or enthusiasm. Enthusiasm comes from the joining of two words, en, meaning within, and theos, which means God. Enthusiasm is having God within. We know the power of enthusiasm is already within us, for we are beings of God, one with the life and love that is God energy in the world. Enthusiasm arises within us and flows upward and outward like clear water from a bubbling spring. We naturally overflow with enthusiasm when the channel for this rising spring of energy is clear of obstructions. We release all obstructions, old messages that we are not worthy, not loved, not good enough, don't deserve it. We release these old obstructions. Like bubbles bursting in the sun, we allow these obstructions to disappear in the light of love and life that is our true nature. I call upon my inner power of order to help me channel my enthusiasm upon that which is most important as I allow my enthusiasm to well up and fill my purpose in this moment. I experience great joy and connectedness. I sizzle with life and energy and am alive to the beauty of everything around me. Each moment is full of wonder and grace. Thankful for the power of enthusiasm within me, I am refreshed and renewed by the clear flow of life and love within and around me. And it is so. Amen.
So I thought I'd begin by telling you how come we have prayer chaplains. So we're celebrating our 20th year, believe it or not, of prayer chaplain service to Unity of Missoula. And through the years, we've had quite a few people come and be a prayer chaplain for a year or two, and then, have to resign for some reason or another. But the five of us that are doing it right now have been doing it since before COVID, and kept the prayer chaplain program going in spite of COVID. And I started the program, 2004, when I realized we are a team ministry, which meant that we did not have one particular person in charge of the church, that we were all working together to provide a place to come together on Sundays, to worship together, to share together, to have a community together. And I had made a personal dedication that I wanted there to be unity in Missoula. And I was determined that there would be unity in Missoula. So I started on a path of helping us to keep unity alive. I knew other congregations in other towns that had decided not to have a minister, and they did okay for a while, but they didn't have that spark that brought unity in particular. So, but I also didn't want us to have one person as a figurehead up there. And I felt like we were missing something, which was a heart-to-heart connection with the people that we served. We did Sunday services just fine. We had a marvelous choir. We had a prayer circle, but when somebody got sick or went in the hospital or had a family emergency or any of the hundreds of things that happen in people's lives, there was not a person that they could call and say, help, I need to remember my purpose here. And so at a Northwest Regional retreat, I talked to Deidre Ashmore, who was the minister in Spokane, Washington at that point, and she told me about the Prayer Chaplain program. And the more she told me about it, the more I thought, this is a great program because it depends on the individual members of the congregation to be there for each other. The premise of the program is that the prayer chaplains commit to a year of service, and they commit to making a phone call every single month to a certain number of people that they've been assigned to call and offer to pray with them. If they don't reach them in person, they leave a prayer on the voicemail, as Nancy read to you. And we always invite people to call us if they need prayer when they, during the month, even if it isn't prayer call time. Well, it sounds great and it sounds easy. But to actually take that time, 2 or 3 hours at least, I'd say we spend every month. Part of it is getting ourselves in the place where we know we can be a channel. And then part of it is just overcoming the reluctance. It's kind of like making cold calls as a salesman, to pick up the phone. And at first we were always so afraid somebody get mad at us and say, I don't want to pray. I don't think any of us ever had that exactly. We might have had some people say, well, I don't, because they didn't know what praying with somebody would sound like or feel like. But as we got better at it and people came to know us, they began to look forward to that prayer time every month. And I've had people tell me, even when I can't talk to them on the phone, they save my voicemail message so they can hear it again throughout the month when they need to. I think we've been channels to miracles for people, healings. And it's not, again, as Nancy said, it's not that we're doing it. It's that we're opening our hearts to let that love, that connection that we are one to another, to flow through us and touch the hearts and minds of everyone. When we first started, we just took the church's mailing list at that point. And I think there were 180 or something, hundreds, so people. And we called each one of them. We divided it among, I think there were maybe 6 of us at that time. We divided it up and we each took randomly assigned number of people. We tried to make sure that married couples each had their own prayer chaplain so that, you never know. A married person might want to complain about their spouse to their prayer chaplain. And so rather than give people the same prayer chaplain, we wanted to make sure they each had their own. And other than that, we called people. I'd prayed with a woman for 18 years who never came to church. She lived in Hamilton, but she and I walked the journey of her lung cancer together. And I prayed with her every month. And she was so grateful. And she said, I so look forward to your calls, Linda, because I still feel tied to Unity. And that was, it's a huge gift to me. And I think all 5 of us have people on our list still that we've maybe never met in person, but they believe they belong in unity. And so we're a bridge to those people. The other part of our job is to be available on Sundays for prayers if people need prayers. We have moved the chaplaincy program now to, if you're a member of Unity of Missoula, you get a prayer chaplain. We decided we would have a perk for actually signing the membership card. So you have a prayer chaplain who will call you every month. Of course, you don't need to talk to your prayer chaplain. You can just ignore the call and listen to the voicemail if you want. But boy, I am so lucky. I have 2 prayer chaplains. Actually, I probably have 3 because I have one from the Northwest region as well. But it's just such a gift. And I am so blessed. Every time I do my calls, I think, oh, gotta do my calls. And then, 2 minutes later, when I actually make the first call, it's like this huge, huge peace and just an overwhelming knowledge that I am connected to Spirit. And Spirit is working in me and through me and helping me make that connection to everyone that I talk with. And so thank you for allowing me to be a prayer chaplain.
Well, last and hopefully not least. So I think you got a pretty good idea. I think for all of us in the beginning, it was terrifying. I think you got that idea because, what is prayer? And does it work? All these kinds of questions that were there in the beginning. And I think it's been a journey from my experience of you and myself. And I imagine it's a journey with you and your chaplains. The discovering of what it is together over these years. And yes, that we did start in 2004. And I think that for myself, one of the powers of the chaplain program is that it gives us once a month at least where we stop and we open together. And we open together to things that we don't understand. We open together to things that can be terrifying. And we're reminded in that process, at least I find for myself, that I can stop and I can breathe and I can set this aside, whatever's going on in my life. And I can just open. One of the challenges of unity is that all of you, for whatever reasons, but I know it's from a deep intuitive place, you're drawn to a church that emphasizes spirituality, probably in a little bit deeper way than most of them do. And this challenge with spirituality is it's opening up to that part of ourself that is actually larger than who we are, who we think we are, but we can't necessarily see it in the beginning. It's a mystery, and it's not something we can get at through our intellect. And so the prayer process, what I'm finding is that we're kind of experimenting together, this process of opening ourselves to the Spirit, to the oneness, and to the love that is always there. And my wife wonders, like, I close the door because it's a private thing, it's a confidential relationship. And she wonders why there's so much laughing and noise on the other side of the door. This is supposed to be serious. And for some reason it isn't. There's a tremendous joy of being together in a deeper way and watching our relationships evolve over the years. And as I prepare to do the calls each month, in the beginning, sometimes it could take 2 or 3 days because for myself, I found that I needed to be in a place where I could know that no matter what you shared with me, and there can be some pretty terrifying things to be shared, that the presence of God was going to be there. I couldn't be there just as an intellect. I couldn't be there as somebody trying to control what I was going to say to you. I had to be there in the truth of who we are. And I couldn't always get there in the first hour or the first day. Now it's easier and easier after this practice that you've provided me. And then we're providing each other. You know, this is a journey together. This is what I love about it. And so what I find in my own experience with those of you that I'm with in prayer, that the truth is that we're one. And your prayer the things that you share with me, those are about me too. We go together and open together to those things that can be scary to us, those places where we think we're separate from our needs and from our safety and from our wellness. And so every prayer it ends up being for me. I'm sorry, it's really, really selfish, but it's always for me. I'm the one that gets to experience going to that place that you are for myself. And the experiences that happen are not anything that I know is going to happen. It's totally new. And it's been very fascinating, like as we were working with the war in the Ukraine, and it was like people, all the people I was talking to were very concerned about that conflict. I mean, you're so loving. It's just amazing to me who you are. And so this love would come out of all of you. And it was like, okay, how do I open to the presence of God? And so it was like jumping off of a cliff. It's like, okay, if there's only one, then there's only one for every single being in this conflict. Every perpetrator, every victim, there's only one. Now, intellectually, I didn't understand that. But as we went into prayer with it, it's very fascinating how things get switched inside, how we get taken to new places. And that's what the spiritual journey is about. We're going to new places for us. They're not really new. It's really closer and closer to the truth of who we are. And so I thank you. I thank you for the courage to do this journey, all of us together. This is, like you heard, when we realized that we were letting go of having one person represent our truth, that we wanted to do it together, that we needed to have some way to connect and some way to also reach out when we are in fear to something. And this is why the program started. That's why we were given that program, I believe, so that we can learn how to be a minister for each other. You are chaplains also. We're all growing in this realization that prayer is always available every moment. Every moment we can stop and open and ask for help. That's what we're being asked to do. Everything else is being separate from each other and from God. We are one. We are unity. This is what we're practicing. And so let's just take a moment to be in prayer. So like we always do, just breathe and come into the moment. Just open to the sacredness of who you are, to the light and to the love that holds you always in its oneness. We are never separate from that divine oneness. We are the oneness. And as we move into December, we'll go deeper and deeper in realizing that it's about honoring the Christ, that we are the child, that we are that child of the oneness, that we are never separate from the love and from the power and from the peace and from the joy. And just allow ourselves to expand, allow the love that is your truth to hold, to open, and to touch the love of every being in this room. We're here practicing letting go of this illusion of fear and separation. And we can open that heart of oneness and allow it to hold every being in this nation, no matter their beliefs, no matter their fears, no matter their hurts and their angers, no matter their perceptions. We can open and let go of the illusions of separation, knowing that every being is one in spirit. And every conflict on this planet, every dictator, every angry soul, every abandoned child, we can open and embrace and allow each of those, allow what they're going through into our beingness. For we have all of that within us. We all have places of fear and places of darkness, places of being a victim, places of abandonment. And yet we're here to release all of that to a greater truth that no, we have never been separate. These are only symbols of that belief of being separate from each other and from love. We are one. We are spirit. We are eternal. We are safe. We are one. All of us are one. And we're here to hold that and to forgive those illusions of fear that we see in ourselves and the world, allowing us to relax into the wholeness, into the light and the love that is our truth. And we give thanks, for we are love. Amen. And so as you come back, we move into that time where we hold the prayer of protection together. I'm trusting it's on the wall behind me. Is it? It will be. Yeah, a little faith there. Yeah. And so together, light of God surrounds us. We are the light. The love of God enfolds us. We are the love. The power of God protects us. We are the power. And the presence of God watches over us. We are the presence. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well. We are one.